Hello, everybody. Welcome to Onion Soup, the show where we pull back the layers of metaphysics and reality in order to demystify spirituality. Today, we have a great guest with us. I'm honestly really excited to hear his story, Mr. Robert Haines. How are you doing today, Mr. Robert?
Awesome, Mr. Dexter. Thank you so much for letting me be here.
For
Super
sure.
excited.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I was so excited to hear about your story, just with what happened with you in the military and basically how things transitioned from military to spirituality to where you are now in life. So, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah. So I spent 27 years active duty in the military. You can see a lot of the patches and things in the background there. I was a pilot. I lived the life of a movie star. At least I felt like I did. I was doing some really cool things. It was amazing. Um, when I retired, I went into business, kind of executive coaching, executive leadership. And I was actually spending some time with a group of college buddies from the Air Force Academy, and we were playing golf out in Montana. And this was 2020, so kind of COVID time frame. And we're having a great time playing golf, and I was riding shotgun in a golf cart, Dexter, and the buddy I'm riding with was kind of going down the hill. We were looking for a ball, and he made a sudden movement with the golf cart, and it rolled the cart over on its side. And in that rollover and sudden stop, I smashed my head against the top of the golf cart, and he fell on top of me. And in the course of all that, I snapped my neck.
Oh, wow.
It snapped my C2, which is if you're familiar with that, that's a hangman's fracture. That's as normally fatal. Yeah, really bad, really bad. And so from that moment on, life was was kind of in the balance at that point. The good news is I survived it. I spent 4 months immobilized, and I was able to come home, but I was immobilized at home and stared at the ceiling for 4 months, trying to figure out what just happened. And I look back now, Dexter, that was a huge gift to me to have that time to just really reflect on who I am, the work I do, who do I serve, where do I go from here, and and really how to heal myself, right? Because I elected, as a pilot, I elected not to do surgery because the neurosurgeon said if he put screws in my neck, then I probably would never be able to fly again because I would lose some permanent mobility in my neck. And so I elected not to do that. And instead, I really reflected on, okay, how do I heal my body, right? And that's where this journey began, Dexter. I had recently read a book called Cured by Jeffrey Rediger about how the body can heal itself. And I was committed to heal myself. And that started me down this whole amazing journey of self-discovery, self-awareness, and self-healing, which then led us into meeting shamans in Costa Rica.
Huh. Wow. So, at what point during your healing journey, while you were laying in the bed, did you go from, oh my God, this is terrible, to let me try and figure out how I can heal myself?
It was once I realized that, okay, I'm not going to die from this. Right? I was really hopeful to not be paralyzed by this, right? And really started to think about how do I get back to 100% of who I was and even stronger and better in the future, right? And what I started to learn, you have to realize before this accident, right? I was still very, very military. I mean, there's black and there's white, there's right and there's wrong. There's a right way to do things. Very, very conservative. I really wasn't exposed to a lot of theories, philosophies, beliefs, right, outside of this really narrow space. And so now, I was in this space where like, okay, having just read this book called Cured and reflecting on people that have healed themselves from, stage 4 diseases, um, fatal cancers, doctors telling them, hey, you're not going to survive. Um, all these things about how people have recovered from these things, right? Because of practices and beliefs that they manifested in themselves.
Mm,
Good nutrition, right? Equipping the body to heal itself and starting to understand that the body is and the mind are so powerful, right? The mind is so powerful. And I kind of knew that before, Dexter, but I really didn't appreciate it and apply it to my physical body, right?
mm,
How can the mind will itself to be better? And once I started to listen to podcasts and I started to listen to audiobooks as I'm sitting there laying there thinking about. I started to think about cell biology, right, and how the mind can affect the actual cells, and started just going down this rabbit hole of self awareness because I really didn't have anything else to do. And so I started to realize this, and then in the course of this, my wife had discovered this work that some shamans were doing in Costa Rica, and she was on her own healing journey. And we thought, well, when I'm well enough to travel, let's go down to Costa Rica and let's see what these people are up to, right? And so we went down there and met some of the most amazing people that I've ever met. And I mean, the most gracious, spiritual, kind, right? Just loving people. You can just tell when you're in their spirit around them. It's like, whoa, right? I have never been in the presence of someone like this before. But working with them for really about a week, a lot of it was just meditation. A lot of it was just breath work. It was
mm,
understanding purity and nutrition, and really understanding how Mother Earth, right, in their language, right, in their narrative, how Mother Earth can heal us,
mm,
that our bodies are from Earth, that our souls are from Spirit, and how learning from them on how to take what's in the earth, right, the pure nutrients available to us, feed it to your body, and then and in the spiritual sense of mindfulness, make it work for you, right? Make it heal you. And that was all new to me. I mean, that was just such an amazing experience. But through that experience, I just generated this awareness of myself that I'd never ever had before, and that opened a whole new perspective for me.
So, Robert, when you were in Costa Rica, was it the entire community that was like that, or was it like a specific group, like when you were working with the shaman?
A specific group for a specific period of time. Yeah. Um, but we also fell in love with Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so exciting. I always want to make it out to Costa Rica. I haven't had a chance to experience
Yeah.
that yet, and it's interesting because I'm also from the military. I was in the army for 5 years, and coming out of the military, you have to reprogram your mind almost to be a civilian.
Yeah.
And when I decided that okay, this is what I wanted to do, and I didn't start down really the spiritual path until some years after that. But yeah, you start reading, you start finding all these different modalities, and you start realizing that different cultures treat their bodies and treat the earth just differently.
Yeah.
So, at what point, because you said you were still in recovery
Yeah.
when you went down to Costa Rica, so at what point did you go from really not being able to move your head or walk or anything to I feel healed? And now you're up moving around talking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was about 4 months when I got to take all the braces off, right? And at that point, I could not move my neck. Um, there was such muscle trauma in that impact, and then they put a neck brace on me right away, of course. And then the muscles just healed with that trauma, that scar tissue there. And so it took weeks and weeks and weeks of just trying to get the mobility back in those muscles and stretch the fibers and try to get all in there. Thankfully, I was able to get up and walk again, which was, and every single morning, still to this day, Dexter, even this morning when I wake up and open my eyes, I wiggle my toes, right? Because it's just that moment of thankfulness for me that I can wiggle my toes and step out of bed. And and that's how I stay connected every single day to that experience was, okay, I can still wiggle my toes. That's good.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit more about the experience overall? Because when we talk about spiritual experiences, and
Mm-hmm.
I know the nutrition helps out as well, but to go from having a broken neck to being completely healed, that's pretty much unheard of here in the Western culture, Western society. So,
Yeah.
what do you think was the catalyst in your that spiritual event?
I think the catalyst was my sheer will that I was going to heal myself, but also knowing that it wasn't just my will, right? It was an understanding that the mind is so powerful, but the mind is connected to this universe of energy, right? That can be harnessed for our own goodness, right? And um, you had recently made a post about people might think you're weird, right? And not understand what you're saying, but and that's a lot of my peeps, right? Think, man,
Yeah,
you have gone off the reservation, right? But I felt like it was that, right? It was like harnessing the energy that is out there in the universe, right, and bringing it into me, and making it um, empower my body, right, to
yeah,
heal itself.
yeah.
That was the
It's
thing.
funny because like exactly what you said. When I remember when I put that out there, a lot of my friends when I decided to go down this route, not necessarily the route as far as having a show and everything, but as I delve more deeply into spirituality and metaphysics, they're just like, that's strange,
Yeah.
but not strange as if they thought I was completely crazy. It was just pretty left field for them. A lot
Yeah.
of my friends are medical field scientists,
Yeah.
very left brain logical individuals. And I was too for many years. I would still consider that I am,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then I start to realize that no, even in the field of science and mathematics, there are things that we don't understand. And
Oh, so much.
there's so much out there that's really just wild. We don't understand quantum physics. We don't understand why we dream, really.
No, we don't. And it was really that moment where I realized I don't know anything, right? And I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent person. I read a lot. I've really committed myself, right, to being that logic, analytical, very scientific, but when I had this experience with a shaman, um, where through breath work, right, and some other things, I just went to the space that I'd never been before, right, and I had this rebirthing experience, which sounds crazy, right, but it's going back. It's really going back in periods of your time where traumas or things have happened to you, right, that have never been dealt with, and in the course of the ceremony, we're walking me back, all the way back to when I was born, right, and there's no dialogue going on between me and the shaman, right? It's just this energy between us, right? But in my mind, I'm walking back, and he's not coaching me or telling me anything. But I go all the way back to kind of when I was born and rebirth, and then I had this amazing transcendent experience of like being with heavenly spirits. Anyway, this whole multi-hour ceremony, and at the end of this, he puts his hand on my chest and he's like, "Happy birthday, brother." Right. And I'd be like, "How did you know?" He's like, "Oh, I know." It's like, I was with you the whole time. I saw everything you saw. Right. And I was like, okay, uh, there's a lot that we don't know. Right.
Yeah,
There's so much that we don't know. And that really opened my eyes to, okay, I want to discover what else is out there, right? And that's
yeah,
always the question I ask myself now is like, okay, what else? What else is out there? And we've been now on this journey with Reiki, and energy healing and different types of meditation and really understanding, the chakras. And I mean, um, just to know and understand ourselves and our interaction and their place in the universe better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting when you start talking about Reiki and chakras. I'm 100% all about that. But we're going to take a really quick break. And yeah, I would love to dive more into it when we get back.
Yeah, you bet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, before we left, you were talking about the shamans being able to guide you through the experience, but less from a verbal perspective, but more energetically. And then you led into Reiki. So, did you know anything about Reiki before you went to Costa Rica?
I had heard of it, right? And I mean, I went to Costa Rica as a complete skeptic, right? This is woo woo stuff, right? This doesn't work. Opened my eye to and became a believer.
Yeah.
I came back having heard of Reiki and was like, okay, I'm interested in trying this.
Mm.
And so had a couple of Reiki experiences with a couple of different practitioners. And once again, I was a skeptic, Dexter, right? But I'm just going to trust. So I laid on the Reiki table, and um, it's if no one's ever done Reiki before, you're just laying there. It's like a massage table, but I mean, fully clothed. Take your shoes off, lay down. And the provider, just started putting her hands, never touched me, right? But just put her hands around my head, and I just started to feel this rush of energy. And where I had broken my neck, that muscle that had achieved the most trauma was just on fire, right? And she just stayed there for a while, and just the muscle was on fire, and then it started to calm and soothe down. And she did a couple other parts of my body, and where I just felt this rush of energy. And afterwards, I felt like completely almost healed of that pain, right? And I'd be like, okay, what just happened here, right? How does this work? And I had so much relief in certain parts of my body after that, and felt great. And be like, it's okay. So there's something here, right? There's something here that I don't understand, but yet I believe because of my own experience, right?
Yeah. I think it's healthy to have a good dose of skepticism.
Yeah.
You don't want to blindly walk in and start believing things. But
Yeah.
similarly, as I started having more and more experiences, I was just like, okay, wow, yeah, there's 100% something going on. And recently I had a crystal healing. And I've had a couple of people on the show who talk about, who are psychics, healers, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I've got some messages from each one of them talking about how my heart chakra needs a lot of work. And that was a surprise to me because I love people, love talking to people. This is
Yeah.
great. So when they really start to delve deeply into what aspects of my heart needed work, I was like, wow, you're right. That's exactly what it is. And they were talking about because of that, my lower chakra energies weren't really functioning properly. And then just start telling me things that I don't normally talk
Yeah.
about. When I went to a crystal healer the other day, and when I tell you, Robert, that she took some crystal stone disc I've never seen before, placed it on my chest, and I just burst out laughing. And it was these weird energies. And she's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. We can keep going. It's fine." But these are the type of, and there's a lot more other things that went on. But to me, that I just thought that was funny. But and you don't really realize this until you sit down and have the experience for yourself.
Yeah. 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 And I'd encourage people, have an experience for yourself with an open mind,
Yeah.
right? With no prejudgment. Just be open to an experience and see what works for you. Right?
Yeah. So as you were delving more deeply into Reiki, have you started practicing Reiki yourself, or are you just
No, I have not.
what
No.
are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should give it a try. I mean, I haven't done it personally,
Yeah.
but it is something I wanted to get into. And as I learned more about the chakras, that's really what led me into spiritualism and spirituality, rather.
Hmm.
But getting deeply into the chakra system, and I was like, wow, there's so much well, there's a lot of science behind the energies around our body, in and around our bodies, and around everything. And as I started looking into that, the chakras just made a lot more sense to me. Have you experienced anything about your, I would say, energy centers, not just in your neck, but throughout the rest of your body clearing up ever since these experiences started?
Oh yeah, yeah. Once I really started to look at the chakras and try to understand them, right? Not just know them, right, but really try to understand them. Um, I'm I have a lot of awareness now. I mean, I go through a chakra clearing meditation once or twice a week. Um, but the one for me is my throat, right? I get things stuck in my throat when I'm really trying to speak from a place of authenticity and truth, and share wisdom in the work that I do, right? I just feel like I have to invest a lot of time clearing my throat just to make sure that I can continue to speak the way I need to speak.
It's funny because like I do the exact same thing. So I actually had no idea I was gonna do a show like this, and I was always an introvert, didn't really like talking to people. I always had the military beat that out of me, you know. But you learn how to speak, but and speak clearly. But as I started getting older and started really wanting to converse and talk about the ideas I had in my head, yeah, it gets stuck and lodged.
Yeah.
I was like, I just really couldn't speak. I wonder why that is. Like, any ideas? Like, why would you think that is?
I think a lot of it for me really is judgment, right? I fear judgment, where if I say something that I feel is coming from a place in my heart where I need to say this, I'm afraid of the judgment coming back of either that's wrong or you're weird or something coming back at me.
Yeah.
Um,
As you started like really talking about it with your friends and family, have you found anybody or any like negative reactions? Because for me, I was the same way. I thought there was going to be a lot of judgment, and yeah, my friends thought it was different, but obviously nothing changed, right?
yeah,
But then I started finding my friends being more interested. I guess
yeah,
because I was interested, they became interested. They
yeah.
started reading the same books.
I think that's what it is. Is it's a curiosity, right? When I talk to people, I have not experienced any blatant judgment saying, "Dude, you're wrong," right? I haven't experienced anything like that. But I still fear it for some reason, right?
Yeah,
When we go on this journey. But what I have experienced is, yeah, there's this lighthearted joking around, perhaps, but I can tell people are curious.
yeah.
And I had a fireside chat several months ago with some people I highly respect, also very successful military leaders. We were talking actually about investing, different types of investing things, and I started to share some of my experience with this group, right? And I was testing the waters, right, to see how would they perceive this. But I would say 90% of them were really, really curious and engaged, right? Because I think, especially high achievers are always interested in what else is out there, right? What else can I do to help myself be a better version of me? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I started this journey, I also started the journey of becoming an entrepreneur. And
Mm-hmm.
I started picking up all these different books. And one of the most famous ones, in my opinion, is Think and Grow Rich. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that book talks about a lot of positive affirmations, the power
Yeah.
of positive thinking, and really how you can use your mind to
Mm-hmm.
recreate and manifest things around you. But this is a business book that's been out since like the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly what it's talking about. And as I started delving more deeply into the entrepreneurial books, there like a lot of things by Dan Cook and Robert Kiyosaki, they talk about the same thing. It really talks about having a positive mindset. Same thing with fitness and pretty much anything else in the world. How powerful a positive mindset is, and how you can use your mind to change the things around
Yeah.
you. You talk about the same things in spirituality.
I know, right? Right. Yeah, that's Think and Grow Rich is an amazing, amazing book. And it's 1937, right, when he writes that thing. And definite of purpose was Napoleon Hill's terminology, right?
Yeah.
What do you want out of your life,
Hmm.
right? And using your mind to make it happen, right?
Yeah. Well, we only have about a minute left. Is there anything that you want to leave with the audience?
Yes, Dexter, thank you. I'm a business coach, business strategist. And one thing I found with business owners that many of them put everyone first, right? They put their customers first. They put their employees and their team next. They put their family before them. But a business will never, rarely, ever outgrow the owner, right? And so I really try to help business owners carve out some time to put themselves first, right? Increase their understanding of their self, build their own self-awareness, build the skills around them that allow them to serve others in a very more powerfully way. And when we and to the that's my message, right? Is like if you are leading a group or even leading your family or leading a company, you have to find more self-awareness in yourself, because if you grow yourself, become a better version of you, you will grow the community around you.
Wow. Yeah, I 100% agree. I was talking to someone recently about just self growth, and I told them how I actually took a couple of years off from hanging out with people. I would say maybe a year or two off from really hanging out with a lot of my friends to work on myself. And
Yeah,
my point was, if I grow myself and invest in myself, I'll be able to help not just me, but everyone around me in my
yeah,
circle. And by helping everyone around me, they can help themselves. They help people around their
yeah,
circle. It just pays it forward. You know?
yeah. So powerful it is, but it's a flip of a switch for a lot of people to put yourself first, right?
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we're not really taught to do that because I don't know. I feel like a lot of times it is healthy to be humble, but also you need to go out and prop yourself up and do the things that you want to do, because you being happy really leads to everyone else around you
Yeah.
being happy. But I want to thank you so much, Mr. Robert, for coming on and just talking to us about your experience.
Thank you so much, Dexter. Really appreciate talking with you.
Thank you. And for everyone that's watching, just thanks for tuning in. I truly do appreciate everybody that tunes into the episodes. And have a great one. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.